Welcome to the latest episode of Branding the Experience, where we discuss ways where we can create environments where employees actually want to come to work and customers want to keep coming back. I'm your host for Branding the Experience, Ken Bader, also the founder of Bader Training and Consulting and the author of the book, The Formula for Business Success equals B plus C plus S. And in our discussion today, titled, Not Every Carnival Comes with Clowns, we're going to talk about the B, C, and the S, brand, culture, and strategy. And when I talk about Carnival, I'm not talking about the circus. I'm talking about Carnival Cruise Lines, which I think you might be able to see just a little bit here. For those of you that get my weekly email, you may know that I was on a little bit of a hiatus with all of my content because I had the great pleasure to go with my wife and her family on a Carnival cruise. Very relaxing and a great way to just connect with everybody in a great vacation environment. I wanted to talk specifically about Carnival and my experience on Carnival Cruise Lines. Now, from a branding perspective, all cruise lines, but I think especially Carnival, at least in my mind, had taken a few hits. Now, I have never had a bad experience on Carnival, and my last cruise certainly didn't change that. I had gone on 2 cruises previously, had a great time, had great experiences, but I know that there were some issues from year to year in terms of some breakdowns and some other things in the press with Carnival. And it was interesting because from a strategy standpoint, obviously when our brand isn't where we want it to be, we have to strategize on how to improve that brand. And obviously it doesn't happen overnight, but if you continually and consistently, which is the key word for branding, consistency, if you consistently do actions and say certain things in the right way, it eventually will untarnish your brand. And I think that some of that was going on in my Carnival cruise just a week ago. Now, obviously, they call it the fun ship, that's their tagline, and darn it, we had a lot of fun. But everybody treated us really, really well, from the waiter during the dinners, to the people cleaning the rooms, to the folks that served us in all the different shops and bars and areas on the ship. It really was top-notch and added a lot to what was a great experience and a great vacation. But what was interesting from a B plus C plus S standpoint, from a branding standpoint, while the experience was certainly at a high level, we ran into a little bit of a problem. And you get to really understand the B plus C plus S formula of an organization when we run into problems. In this case, the problem was we had Hurricane Newton coming our way. And so right from the start, on the first day of the cruise, they announced, first full day actually, they announced that we would be missing our second port, which was Mazatlan on this particular cruise. So we were only going to get 2 ports, one on the Monday and one on the Wednesday. And we got to our first port, Cabo San Lucas, on Monday, and although we were there, the captain made an announcement that they may not be able to let us get off the ship because of the weather that was coming later in the day. So we wound up actually leaving Cabo and not having a port on Monday or Tuesday. The only scheduled port that we made it to on schedule was Puerto Vallarta. But the key thing from a branding standpoint and a strategy standpoint, the captain handled it perfectly. He gave regular updates as to what was going on with the hurricane. He gave regular updates as to why we were stopping, why we weren't going to go ashore, why we were skipping certain ports. The information level was very high. There was never at any point that we felt like, at least I didn't feel, like we were misinformed or underinformed. We knew exactly what was going on. And then on top of that, even though he didn't have to, he made a special stop on Thursday, which was supposed to be a sea day, to Cabo San Lucas. He could have easily said, well, weather's not our problem, we're going to head home as planned. But he gave us that extra day and then made up time to get back on time that Saturday. But gave us that extra port, the 2 ports on the trip. So I thought from both a strategy standpoint was spot on in terms of the information that he provided. I thought that his reasoning from a strategic standpoint of safety both for his crew and for the guests made a lot of sense. In fact, he even mentioned later on the trip, he greeted us all on the last dinner and mentioned that he got so much positive feedback. Even though we ended up missing a port and our schedule was off, he got so much positive feedback, and I believe that he did that because and got that positive feedback because he went above and beyond in terms of sharing information with us. And that in and of itself helped the brand. Because he certainly could have taken a chance, let us go off on Cabo, and then we would have hit weather later on that could have put us in unnecessary danger. So that definitely was a deposit in what I call the emotional bank account of the brand. Last, the culture. The culture was, of course, always fun and great. We got treated like kings and queens on this particular ship. The service was definitely spot on. But it was interesting from a culture standpoint how the staff reacted to it in many different places around the ship, saying and agreeing with the captain that, yeah, it just wasn't worth it. It was for the safety of you. It was for the safety of me. It really made sense, and they reiterated that same message, and which was great to see because, one, you learn a lot about a culture when things are thrown off whack, and it certainly was off whack on this particular cruise. But also when you get a consistency, again that word consistency, in the message from multiple employees, you know that culture and is well aligned with both the brand and the strategy. And when you have an extra sea day, which we did, it puts a lot of stress on the staff because when you're at a port, the staff usually has somewhat of a day off. They can get off the ship. They don't have to work as many hours. When it's a sea day, it's all hands on deck, literally. Everybody has to work, and you have to actually work that extra day. But the service level, despite that, did not change at all. In fact, I think it even got a little bit better because they got to know the guests a little bit better. And also because they had the extra sea day, I found out from one staff member that they threw, I think, a little bit of a party for all of the workers on the ship one night as kind of a thank you for stepping up and helping all the guests and serving all the guests at a high level on that extra sea day. So definitely an organization that cares about the culture and the morale of their workers because they know that that's going to affect the brand and affect how the strategy is implemented and executed every single day. And I was really happy to see that, not only to have a great vacation, but to see a great example of the brand culture strategy alignment in action with this particular organization on Carnival. So I thank Carnival for a great experience last week, and I thank you for spending some time with me today, and hope to see you at the next episode of Branding the Experience. Take care.